Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started for the evening. Hello, all. My name is Tiffany Hall. I'm an alumni of TripleTen Software Engineering Bootcamp. I'm also a full stack engineer at Scholastic Inc., which is the world's largest publisher of children's books and powerhouse in the digital space as well. I also am tonight's host of the TripleTen August Bug Jam. It's our second bug jam, so I'm very excited. Um, Not to go ahead and spoil it, but as you can see, there is a team that has gone above and beyond in presentation points. So I'm very excited for all of us to see what they have in store. Let's talk about what not a code jam, what a bug jam is. Most of you are familiar with code jams. You're with me with those. But a bug jam is kind of like the same idea, a friendly competition that occurs for our students during their normal coursework, super short timelines, right? We're talking days here. Groups of students get together, jam out a bunch of work to meet the prompt. So our prompt obviously is related to QA and making sure they are able to pull out all of the bugs, okay? So our bug jam tonight, excuse me, is going to consist of two parts. The QA part, which is the data, right? The meat, and the potatoes, which is not necessarily the second fiddle here. Sometimes it's even the best part of the meal, the presentation. So this week, our participants have been divided into teams and they're challenged to work collaboratively to check an app that our Code Jam participants in July made. And then our teams spent the last 4 days, just 4 days, making their project. So today, the teams are going to show their results to all of you out there watching, and then our judges are going to review them over the course of the next week. The judges are going to be evaluating both the QA part and the presentation. Our results, like always, are going to be posted on all of our socials and in our Discord for students on August 29th. So a note about voting. If you are a student at TripleTen, you can vote in our Discord channel. We're going to have some polls up there so that way we can see who the audience favorite is amongst the fellow students. If you are not a fellow student just yet, you may go ahead and put whatever vote you want in the chat that's down below, and then we'll know who your audience YouTube vote is as well. The winners of our audience votes are going to receive special prizes from TripleTen. And then the viewers, and then the other people who win the overall prize will also win a special prize from TripleTen, none of which are going to be as miraculous as like the next iPhone, but I think we're all okay with pride for today. At least I am. Hope you are too. Let's talk about presentations. We've got 3 presentations tonight. We have 3 teams. Our teams are A Bug's Life, All About Bugs, and Team Triple Threat. And so I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to see. We're going to start with A Bug's Life tonight, which is Ethan Jacobson, Daniel Tift, big fan of that name, and Jennifer Hull. So who from A Bug's Life will be presenting tonight?
I will be presenting our slides tonight.
All right.
Sorry, looks like I was on the wrong slide. I apologize.
It happens all the time. Thankfully, you weren't on like your like something really embarrassing where you're like ordering, Hufflepuff or Slytherin toys for your dog like I was one time in a meeting. But,
No. Okay, I think I got it at the right point.
All right, great.
Okay, so our project, here we go, was to find bugs in the Summer Adventure web app. So today we're going to be presenting our testing and QA results. Our team is A Bug's Life, and I myself am Jennifer Hull. I've got my other teammate here, Ethan Jacobson, and unfortunately, Daniel Tiff will not be presenting with us tonight. Even though he is a fellow Wisconsinite like myself, he is currently in Switzerland. So that's also been an interesting time for us here as a team. So our project overview. So the purpose of our jam was to test the Summer Adventure web app designed to help users find activities and adventures. Our team's role was to be responsible for testing the app and identifying any bugs that were within it. And our objectives were to test the app's functionality, usability, responsiveness across multiple environments that included different web browsers along with different resolutions and screen sizes. For our testing methodologies, we used functional tests, usability tests, and cross-browser and device compatibilities. And the tools that we used were the browsers Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Edge. We used dev tools to help us test the devices of desktop and mobile devices. And other tools that we used were Google Sheets to help us track our test cases and Jiraiya to help us do bug tracking. We also used Google Docs to help us break down and analyze each of the requirements to help us build our test cases. So we came up with 45 test cases after taking that time to kind of analyze each of the requirements and break them down. We tested the different categories of designs, filter buttons, filter options, titles, illustration, and performance. Of those 45 test cases, we found 22 bugs, 2 critical, 6 major, 10 minor, 4 low. It was nice to see that a majority of our bugs were minor, but it is kind of sad to see that 2 critical and 6 major ones there. We've included now a couple sample of the bugs that we've encountered during our testing. The first one that I'll be sharing is that the images do not load without delay. As a user, that can be really frustrating when you're expecting to use an app and expecting things to load quickly to have a lag time. We've discovered that the images load very slowly for the entire web app, causing it to lag when attempting to scroll. It was discovered during our very first tests. The slow image loading time severely degrade the user experience, making the app appear sluggish and unresponsive. This can lead to frustration and may cause users to abandon the site altogether. For users with slower internet connection, the problem can be exacerbated, further limiting access to the app's content. And a resolution that we thought of that could help is using a different web host or optimizing those images to give a user a better user experience. At this time, I'm going to pass things over to Ethan, who will talk a little bit more about a couple other bugs and some of our conclusions.
Oh, Ethan, buddy, we can't hear you. Womp womp.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, so much better. And such a quick fix. Good job. That's a lot of pressure.
It's okay. Sometimes computers just don't work.
Right?
Yeah. So, sample bug. So this one was a layout doesn't adapt correctly when resizing a smaller resolution. That can be a major issue, depending on where you're viewing this web application. When resizing the browser to 360 x 740 resolution, the Samsung Galaxy S8, using Chrome DevTools, there are overlapping and misalignment issues. It was discovered when using Chrome DevTools, and the alignment issues immediately appeared. The user would have a difficult time using the app with a lower resolution, as they would have to scroll horizontally to see everything. Users may struggle to use the app on mobile devices, leading to high bounce rates and poor mobile experience. This is particularly detrimental as mobile users form a significant portion of web traffic. Resolution update the responsive guidelines in HTML, CSS, JS. Another one I found here was that the cards for food are not in alphabetical order. This can be a huge problem. When verifying the card results for the food filter, they are not presented in alphabetical order per the requirements. It was discovered when checking the food cards and noticing that there was no order at all for the appearance of the food items. When list of items such as food cards, are not displayed in a logical and expected order, alphabetical, it creates confusion and reduces the efficiency with which users can find specific items. This lack of consistency can erode trust in the app's usability. Resolution, arrange food items in alphabetical order using React or the currently used framework. Now, the summary of impact, the identified bugs significantly affect the user experience by slowing performance, disrupting layout on different screen sizes, and causing UI inconsistencies. Examples, performance issues, slow image loading degrades user experience and may lead to frustration and site abandonment. Responsive design flaws, poor adaptation to smaller screens causes layout issues, making navigation difficult on mobile devices. UI inconsistencies, items not listed in alphabetical order, confuse users and reduce usability. What's next? As we look ahead, the following steps are recommended to ensure the app's continued improvement. Fix the identified bugs, prioritize and resolve the critical and major bugs identified during testing. Further usability testing. Conduct additional rounds of testing with a focus on user experience improvements. Performance optimization. Explore ways to enhance the app's performance, particularly in loading times and responsiveness. Collaboration tools and process. To effectively collaborate and manage our testing process, we utilize the following tools. Discord, primary communication tool for team discussions, quick check-ins, and coordination. Google Docs used for requirement analysis, where we collaboratively documented our understanding of the project's needs. Google Sheets managed our test cases with a clear structure, enabling tracking of all scenarios we plan to test. Jira for detailed bug reporting and tracking, ensuring that all identified issues were logged, prioritized, and monitored. Challenges and learning. Throughout the project, we encountered several challenges, each of which were provided valuable learning experiences. Time management. Balancing through testing with tight deadlines was challenging, but prioritizing critical test cases helped us stay on track. Cross-browser testing, ensuring consistency across various browsers required extensive testing and often revealed unexpected issues. Collaboration. Working remotely required clear communication and regular check-ins, which we managed effectively through Discord.
All right. Fantastic. All right. So let's talk some questions. You had mentioned that your other teammate is in Switzerland. How was that in terms of like collaborating? Because you guys did a great job talking about all the different ways that you collaborated, not just synchronously, but also asynchronously. But yeah, how was that? It's such a huge time zone difference.
Yeah, it was definitely definitely a challenge. I found myself that I would need to actually wake up earlier in order to communicate in a, good time frame for him.
Sure.
But it worked out. And so it was either on the later side for him or earlier side for me. So we kind of worked together to make that happen.
Well, I am glad to hear that. What about Jenna? What was your favorite part about creating, like just doing the whole bug jam as a whole, right? Because I saw you kind of get excited at the beginning when you were talking about all the different categories, maybe even a little melancholy that there were a few of the severe ones. But what was your favorite part?
I think it was getting to work in a collaborative environment. I know there's opportunities while we're working on our own to collaborate with others, but sometimes you kind of feel kind of like in your own little silo as you're like working along
Mm,
on things. So it was nice to kind of have other people to bounce ideas off of and work on and kind of see their perspective on a problem and how they would solve it or an issue that they're seeing that you didn't necessarily see. So that's what I enjoyed about the project.
awesome. Really great. Yeah, and that type of collaboration really can be helpful, like you said, especially when working, if you're working remotely, right? Trying to develop those relationships in a remote setting can be challenging for some people who are used to more face-to-face setup. So I'm glad you got the practice for that. Okay, that is A Bug's Life with Ethan Jacobson, Daniel Tiff, and Jennifer Hole. Yay. Okay, we're going to go to All About Bugs now. Before we get started, did y'all plan with Bug's Life to have that ladybug theme crossover?
I had,
Because
I had a little fun with the AI image generator, and luckily my teammates are receptive to my absolute weirdness. Yeah, we're all pretty easy going with this. So they agreed to have
I
like a
love it.
photo. There were several options
My
presented.
favorite teams. My favorite teams that I've worked with, we on special occasions would do special backgrounds all together, like if it's somebody's birthday or somebody was, coming back from a vacation. And so that kind of like team culture is really great. So keep those skills as you go on to a job. They're great. All
Awesome.
right. We have All About Bugs going to present with Brian Herrera, Ahmed Zafar, and then Aiden. Which one of you will be first?
I'll be first, but we all will be presenting today.
I'm clicking through slides, so here we go. Whenever you're ready, Brian. Or maybe I should actually share my screen first. That would be
I was
good.
gonna say I don't think they're up yet, but
You can call me out, that's all right. All right. All right,
alrighty. So welcome everybody. I hope everybody is doing fine. Today and today only, Team All About Bugs will be presenting our findings on the application of Summer Adventure. On today's agenda, we will introduce you to the team All About Bugs. Also, we will introduce you to the app Summer Adventure, our approach to testing it, our results, and then we also did a little bit of accessibility testing. And then finally, we'll finish off with our takeaways and our final thoughts about the project. And then, firstly, this is the amazing team All About Bugs, consisting of Ahmad, Amy, and me, Brian. The application test for us was, I guess, us and everybody, was Summer Adventure web app. It's a wonderful app created by the July Code team. And it really gives you different ideas on how to beat the heat or just enjoy it. It's very simple and inviting. As you can see by the animation we have, it allows for different budgets, location, food and drink preferences. And then it's very easy to use at a click of a button. You can get the selections you want, and then you can get the results for those selections. So our approach, we started off with some light exploratory testing. We're just checking out the app, trying to get a feel for it. And then we moved on to black box testing, where we created test cases based on just how we interacted with the app, because we didn't really have any knowledge about the code. And then we moved on and heavily tested the UI of the application, making sure it didn't have any layout issues, made sure it was compatible with different browsers, operating systems, and then finally that it was compatible in different device sizes. And then, of course, we did do positive and negative test cases just to confirm the functionality of the application and make sure there was no other bugs. And then finally, we did play with a new technique that none of us had used before, accessibility testing, but Amy will explain more of that later. All right. And then for the environments, we are also aware that not everybody uses the same browser. The obvious option was Chrome, since it is the most popular one, and the application was optimized on Chrome. For Chrome, we did two different environments. We did one with a higher resolution and one with just a standard resolution, both on the most recent Chrome. We also did a test on Edge, same standard resolution. Firefox, same standard resolution. And then we do know how important mobile phones are. Everybody has them nowadays. So we did do some testing on iOS, and that was actually the iPhone XR. And then also we did do some testing on lesser phones like Androids, and that was done on a Pixel 7.
All right, thanks, Brian. Now I will talk about the results of our testing. We ran a total of 300 tests, out of which 194 passed and 106 failed. We have a 35.3% failure rate, meaning 1 in every 3 tests we conducted failed, which is not really great. We had a total of 50 test cases, which were tested across 6 environments that Brian mentioned. Looking at the bugs in each environment, we found that there were a total of 15 bugs that affected all environments. However, we also had 5 bugs, about 22.7% of all bugs, which were specific to phones only, showing that the developers were more focused on creating a web app targeted towards computer users and not really focusing on mobile devices. Thankfully, the bugs we did encounter were not too severe. Majority of the bugs encountered were visual bugs in nature, such as being text being cut off or text being misspelled. We had 0 critical bugs, 4 serious bugs, 12 moderate bugs, and 6 minor bugs. But I will share with you some of the more serious bugs we found during our testing. If the user was using the app on their phone and wanted to unselect the filter they had already selected, they had to tap the filter and tap again on the screen for it to unselect the filter, which is very frustrating. And you can also see on the right-hand side, the third budget option is cut off on mobile screens. All right, and during our testing, we also discovered that certain pairs of filters yielded incorrect result. When combining indoor or outdoor filters with a food and drink filter, the result would be activity cards for the latter only. And when we combined food and drinks filters together, the app provided no activity cards at all, which is not how the app is supposed to work or how the user expects it to behave.
All right, thanks for sharing a little bit about our results, Ahmad. So I'm going to wrap this up by telling you a little bit about accessibility testing and finally some of our takeaways from working together on the project. But first, some statistics for you. So more than 1 billion people in the world's population are estimated to live with some form of a disability. And in a 2021 study of 1 million different websites, 97.4% of those websites' homepages had a detectable accessibility failure or an accessibility bug. So we all know that there are a lot of, there are more websites than just 1 million out there. So this is actually a really widespread problem. And it kind of underscores the importance of making best practices a priority for both accessibility in code and in testing. Since none of us were familiar with this kind of testing before this project, we did some research and found some widely available tools and widely used tools. We went with Axe DevTools, which is a browser extension. And we used this just for one of our test environments, just to experiment with it. We didn't want to go too deep into it since none of us are experts in that particular type of testing. But playing with it was pretty cool. So Axe DevTools is also available for Firefox and for Edge. It's a free extension. It's free to download, and I encourage my fellow testers to play with it. And what it has for accessibility testing, it has automated testing. It does an automatic scan of a website and provides you with guidance on any issues it comes across. It also has guided testing, and you can focus on a few different core areas of accessibility. And it also comes with issue guidance and a whole library of information that can help you understand these bugs and how to fix them. So when we looked at Summer Adventure and did the automatic test, they passed with flying colors. So kudos to the July Code Jam team who put this together. There's no major issues as far as the automatic scan, and that's a really, really awesome thing to accomplish. However, when we did the guided tests, which we looked at the one for keyboard navigation, site structure, images, and the last one's escaping me, but we did all 4 of them. And we came up with a set of 4 major bugs and totaling 30 different spots in the code where things could be changed. And so that's just, more areas for improvement in the next iteration of Summer Adventure as you make this app progress over time. And lastly, just our takeaways here. Much like in the first group, we definitely agree that working in a team is so much better than working alone. We split up the work really evenly and learned, communication preferences between the 3 of us, ended up chatting a lot on video or on audio calls on Discord. It was really efficient to talk through issues that way. We also had 2 different time zones to deal with, Eastern and Pacific. So some of us were working early, some were working late, but maintaining constant communication about where we're at helped us get through the project. Also honoring everyone's time, kind of already covered that just now, so I won't talk anymore about that. And then lastly, just to hammer home that we wanted to learn more about accessibility testing and other types of testing as we go forward. So that's it. Thank you to the best team ever. And we are good to go. Thank you.
All right, that was great. So a couple of questions. You guys talked about black box testing. And that sounds mildly terrifying, but I was hoping one of you guys could help explain what that is for myself, but also for the people watching at home, because it sounds terrifying, like I said.
Yeah, I can take that one. So black box testing is a type of testing technique where you don't have access to the code itself. You're exploring it. It's called exploratory testing. It's a type of exploratory testing where you kind of just press buttons and see what works, what doesn't work, without seeing what's under the hood, so to
Oh,
speak.
so kind of scary, but nothing life-threatening.
Yeah.
That probably, though, is really helpful. Like you mentioned that it can be hard to not know the language, right? And I imagine as QA engineers, when you go out into the world, you're not going to know all the languages you might be evaluating. So that black box testing skill probably comes in pretty handy, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to talk, Amy, you and your team brought into your project accessibility. As a former sped teacher, I want to say louder for the people in the back. But I wanted to hear, is there a reason that you guys have brought that in as kind of that different facet to look at the QA from?
Well, I'll take that question. Yes, I do have, I have one person in my life who has a disability, though she never classifies it as such. It happens to be my mother. So that is, it's something that's always kind of been in the forefront for me whenever I work. I'm always looking at ways to be more inclusive.
Yeah.
And I'm also a former educator myself. I used to teach music, so I feel you on the special ed stuff. Yeah, there's just a lot of different ways that we can tackle this issue as the human race, trying to make things more accessible for everyone, especially as the world gets more modern.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how widespread the accessibility when it comes to the internet and using it was until we kind of talked about it and researched it as a team. So yeah, it was just cool to learn about.
Super rad. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. That is all about bugs with a fabulous ladybug wearing sunglasses. I really want to know what the prompt was that you got this amazing, thank you, Brian, amazing background.
Pretty sure it was a bug wearing sunglasses, but we'll find out.
Okay, that was a little less climatic than I thought it'd be. So we have Brian Herrera, Ahmad Zafar, and Amy Jenkins. Thank you guys so very much. That was really great. Our last team for the evening is Team Triple Threat. Team Triple Threat. There we go. And that consists of Riley Johnson, Jasmine Darty, and Noah Arwook. They are all not here. Riley is here, which is great. And so I've got their presentation pre-recorded, and so I will share that. And then after the presentation, I will talk to Riley, and I'm sure we will find out fascinating, interesting things, like maybe what interests him in terms of mid-journey prompts about bugs and sunglasses. All right, give me one moment, of course. No, let's share the screen. It's not the right button. Oh. The worst part about all of the Zooms and all of the teams is when the buttons get hid behind the other panels on your computer. All right. Thanks so much for sticking with me, everyone. Now you know what it was like to teach in the pandemic. Here we go. Team Triple Threat.
Hey guys, I'm from West Virginia with Team Triple Threat, and thank you for having us here today. We'd like to cover our project of the Summer Adventure web app, our findings, what brought us to these conclusions, our testing strategies, and what issues we ran into. But before we get started, let's meet the rest of the team. Jasmine?
Hey, I'm Jasmine. I'm from Atlanta.
Hi, I'm Riley. I'm from Portland, Oregon.
With our project, we were given the task of making sure that the Summer Adventure web app was easily accessible upon the majority of devices people use and function as it should. This meant following the dev team's requirements and making sure the vision was being met without any issues being caused by bugs, no matter how small. At the end of the day, this app needed to be vibrant, user-friendly, and an all-around enjoyable experience.
The task was big, but we were able to accomplish this by breaking everything down into more digestible parts. We followed some of the standard steps of the STLC, otherwise known as the software testing lifecycle. For requirement analysis, we took a close look at the Summer Adventure web app requirements to get a solid understanding of what it was designed to do. We also explored the web page to see the design and features in action and get a feel for the product. During our test planning, we split up the requirements into 3 sections. We each took responsibility for each one. We planned how we'd approach our sections and agreed to swap sections after our initial tests. This way, we made sure that each part got reviewed by different testers on our team and checked for bugs across various browsers and devices. We decided to also include some exploratory testing to uncover any issues that might have not been covered in the requirements. For the test case development, we created our test case in a shared Google Sheets file, ensuring that they covered all functional and non-functional aspects of the web app based on the requirements. For test execution, we ran the test cases. We did various types of testing, such as functional, UI, integration, performance, compatibility, and usability testing. We also went back and retested bugs reported by other team members and looked for missed issues. For bug reporting, we used a shared Jira account to report and track all the bugs. We organized them by severity. We included details like screen recordings, steps to reproduce, and environment info. For our test closure, we had a meeting. We reviewed all the results. We decided which bugs were most critical for the app and for its users. And we put together this presentation to showcase our findings and highlight the most important issues. Within our testing plan, we incorporated a few different testing methodologies to ensure quality and effectiveness of the web application. Things like functional testing, which verifies the software's performance according to the requirements. Things like UI UX, which focuses on the user interface and the visually appealing aspect. For compatibility testing, we checked that the software worked across different browsers, devices, operating systems, just to make sure that users could access the app no matter what device they owned. For integration testing, this ensured different modules or services work together seamlessly. And lastly, for usability testing, this evaluates how easily the users can interact with the application, focusing on efficiency and satisfaction. Together, we use these different testing types to create and develop a test plan.
We conducted a total of 56 tests. Out of these, 13 failed and 42 passed. Additionally, 13 bugs were reported. 5 were high severity, 5 were medium severity, and 3 were low severity. Although there was a possibility to test more extensively, such as testing every possible combination of filters and a various browsers. However, due to time constraints, we optimized our testing to cover most common browsers and use cases. Now we won't trouble you with the details of every bug, but we'd like to highlight a few that were most severe.
One of the most critical bugs that we uncovered was involving the page layout compatibility, the cross-platform visibility. The resolution looked fine on most devices, but the layout itself was not working as expected. As you can see from the screenshots, we used Chrome DevTools and Android Studio to emulate different virtual devices, such as the iPhone 14 and the Pixel 6. And as you can see, the layout was a bit skewed. We also tested various physical devices and encountered the same issues. We believe this issue could impact the brand's image, making the app look unprofessional. Another critical issue we identified was with the page's rendering performance during interactions with the results. Although the initial page load was fine, when searching and scrolling through the activity cards, we noticed noticeably long loading times and delays. This was consistent with different browser environments. We used Chrome DevTools Performance tab to record and analyze the problem, and the data showed warnings for long rendering tasks, some taking up to 6 seconds, along with a 404 error for a missing resource in the console logs.
There were also other bugs like the filter results didn't always match the requirements. Some activity cards were misclassified. For instance, the escape room is supposed to be a high cost, but is listed as a mid cost in the app. This kind of error is misleading to users. If users can't rely on the apps to be accurately categorize activities, they might lose trust in the overall app. This could lead to a drop in users' engagements and satisfaction and potentially drive users away to other apps that provide more accurate and reliable information.
Our team, spread from the west to the east coast, faced challenges with different time zones and busy schedules. To manage this, we used a mix of tools to enhance our collaboration. We broke the project into sections and used Discord to post updates, organize our work, and discuss any issues in real time. This kept communication fluid and allowed us to address problems as they arose. For more in-depth discussions and decision-making, we turned to Google Meet for video calls, which helped us sync up and make collective decisions despite the distance. We also utilized a shared Google Sheets and shared Jira to track bugs, monitor progress, and keep everybody informed. This project was a true team effort, and it couldn't have been completed by any one person alone. Every team member's diverse skills and contributions were crucial to our success. With further testing and refinement, such as addressing loading inefficiencies, we believe this app could become an indispensable tool for users everywhere. By continuing to listen to feedback and adapt to user needs, the app can evolve into a more intuitive and powerful platform. We're excited to see how it will grow and improve, ultimately becoming a go-to resource for anyone seeking a personalized and seamless experience.
Oh man, Team Triple Threat with the production value. I am here for it. All right. Let me stop sharing the screen now. Okay, stop sharing. There we go. That's better. Now I can see all your beautiful faces. All right, so I want to talk to Riley. He's here with us today to represent Team Triple Threat. And so my first question, Riley, is I've seen you quite a bit, right? In lots of places and lots of meetings and calls. And so my question is, you seem like you are further along in the program, the QA program, than the others, maybe just because I've seen you a lot, so I'm putting time together. But was that in fact the case?
No. Are you asking with my team as far
Yeah.
as their progress in the course? No. I believe Jasmine has already graduated, and
Okay.
she was actually the winner of the last Bug Jam. So it was
Oh, from April.
yeah. So it was nice having her on our team.
Ace in the hole.
She
Yeah,
offered
that was a good team
professional.
team draft pick. Yeah, for sure.
And then actually I think Noah is almost finished. I'm only on sprint 7. Um,
So
so
how
I
was
was
it in terms of like, were there gaps between like what they were able to do and what you were able to do, or did you guys figure a way so that everyone could flourish?
yeah, I mean I don't think there's too many gaps. I think we each have our own strengths. Noah is actually an English major, so he really helped actually collect a lot of our thoughts. He kind of served as a human chat GPT rewriter. So yeah, we each kind of shined in our own way. And I think using nowadays with technology, so many apps are shared. We actually just used like one Jira and one Google Sheet, and so you could see almost in real time what another teammate was working on or doing, and you could make kind of real time edits and say, hey, just look at this. I think that was helpful.
Yeah, that would be, especially in the short time frame you guys have. So, in thinking about your progress just over time, but also with this project, what are you feeling the most proud of for this project?
Personally, I mean, I guess the visual presentation, I really like designing stuff like that. That was mostly my work, and so I did have a lot of fun with that. But I also, yeah, it taught me a lot about myself and other people as far as collaborating with teams and problem solving just with different personalities, different work styles, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I that was Team Triple Threat. So I want to say close the team things. I'm going to have a couple of questions just kind of for all of us. So Team Triple Threat tonight was Riley Johnson, Jasmine Darty, Noah Arba. Now I'd like to ask, Colin Audible, I wanted to talk about this test plan thing. I've heard every team mention that they used this information or these facts and figures to create a test plan. And I wonder if one of you in the group that's here might be willing to show us what your test plan is and explain what that is. Because not coming from a QA world, I don't understand what you need to plan. And I want to make sure that QA gets the respect it deserves because I know every developer, they have saved their butts a time or two from shipping things that should not be shipped. So it would be great if someone had one of their test plans that they could show and really help show off, I suppose, the thought and planning and minutia that goes on behind the scenes for our viewers.
I mean, I pulled ours up real quick if you want to.
Yeah, you want to share?
Share the screen. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
big, huge spreadsheet. I'm sure everyone will find it super awesome. Give me a moment. All right.
We'll get you one of those mugs that says freak in the sheets and it'll be fine.
What's funny is I started learning pottery last fall, so I could totally make that mug. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So when we were building
Oh,
our
we don't see it yet, Amy.
Oh, thank you. This is what I did earlier in practice.
There you go. Okay, now I'm ready.
So this is our test case spreadsheet. So how we kind of tackle this is we have columns that kind of describe the contents below. So we'll start with like your feature under test. So that's the part of the app that you're testing. We give every test a unique ID. That way you can reference it in your bug reports and it's easy to find. For the descriptions, that's basically the action that we're going to take to verify the test. Preconditions, that includes anything that needs to be taken care of action-wise before running the test. For most of our tests, it was like, the app's just open and it needs to be running. And got our test steps. And this column is for test data. We didn't really have many inputs for this because we're not filling out a form. But if we did,
Oh, so that would be where you'd put like the dummy information or the pretend credit card stuff.
Yeah. Then we put our test techniques in here. That's not necessarily a required column, but it kind of helps us keep track of what we're doing. And then these are all the environments. So we'll include, what version of the app we're on, the URL that leads to it, devices that we're using, the operating systems for those devices, browser versions, resolution, etc.
Holy cow. This is a lot of work.
I mean, there's a fair amount of copy and paste for some of it, so it's not too bad. And then we have columns for expected result. And that's the expected behavior of the app. So we normally use the requirements documentation as a reference for that. And then when we conduct our cases, we'll put notes on our actual result in here. And then we have some drop downs for pass fail, the bug priority, severity, and then like links to the bug report. That's what ours looks like.
Fantastic. Now, the bug report, is that a thing that you then return? Like, do you put together a large report and then return that all together, or in like the real world situation? I know right now in this competition we said like give us your bug report, but like do you ever turn those in as professionals, or do you excuse me, or do you just go through and kind of itemize them and return them one ticket at a time?
So each bug report is reported separately, but they all live within a Jira project. Probably all of the teams we're used to using Jira to kind of centralize our bugs.
Me too.
Yeah.
Tickets and bugs in Jira. Woo!
Yeah, and I haven't collaborated with developers in Jira yet, so I'm sure there will be a workflow that we'll need to learn about. But that's how we used Jira. Although Jira has some limited reporting capabilities as far as like, if you wanted to see like bug severity and other stuff. So we did that manually and came back to that and made some fancy looking charts. So yeah, that's what we did.
Brad, thank you so much. I just wanted to be able to give a kind of behind the scenes, because I know that all of the QA engineers I've ever worked with, they have so much attention to detail in every little piece. And the presentations that you guys give are so wonderful in like 50,000-foot views. And I just want to make sure that everyone who is potentially thinking about doing QA, like if you are the type of person that likes the fine detail and you like the minutia and the order, like this is for you. So thank you so much for sharing. All right. Well, that's going to conclude our evening tonight. So make sure that you're voting. If you're a student and you're watching this, it's going to be in the Discord channel. If you're not a student just yet, you can go ahead and vote for your audience favorite in the little comments section down below. This has been our August Bug Jam presentation. Thank you so much for watching. The results and the winners are going to be announced on August 29th. And they will be on all of our socials and the Discord. We'll probably send some pigeons. I don't know. I want to thank our amazing staff at TripleTen that have helped with this bug jam. They are Irina, Kevin, Alyssa, Elena, Julia, Arena, not Irina, Arena. That's a different person. Nadia, and then of course my cat Sharkbait. He's not technically on the payroll, but he does work for Snuggles. So thank you all again to all of the participants for presenting your work. It takes a lot of courage to work for something so hard and present it to the world. So thank you guys so very much. This is our second bug jam, and it is just amazing to see what you guys can do in 4 days. Thank you. My name is Tiffany Hall. If you need to find me, you can find me at Tiffany Codes on Instagram. You can also find me on LinkedIn. You can probably find my cat Sharkbait at his food bowl. you can find us. Thank you guys so much and have a great evening.